And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Today we're taking a look at a game called A Little Wordy. Now this game is from the same people who made Exploding Kittens, which is not necessarily considered to be a great game. And don't get me wrong, it's sold a ton and people love it. So, you know, it's just not necessarily my style. But this here's a word game. It is a two-player, well, you could play teams, a two-player back and forth trying to guess your opponent's word. Thus the name, A Little Wordy. It has birds as its theme. But anyway, let's see if it's any good. At the beginning of the game, you're going to take 8 cards and put them between players. There are 2 decks, so you'll take some of the gray cards. You're going to use them more often than not, and then the orange cards, and you'll put them between the 2 players. Each player gets their own little shield device here, and you're going to draw 7 consonants and 4 vowels from bags that have them in it. Then you're going to go through them secretly, and you're going to pick a word from that. So I might say, let's see, tangy. So that's my word, tangy. Something is tangy. Is that the good word for it? Yeah, maybe. So that's my word. Ooh, no, I don't have an E. So no E, so I'm gonna sit with this word here, and I'm gonna write my word down like thus. After you've written the word down, you're gonna kind of hide it, like this, folding the shield down. This is where you're gonna keep information, and then you're gonna give all your letters to your opponent. So you see the letters that they used, and now you're going to start taking a look at these clues that are in between both of the players. On your turn, you can activate a clue or guess your opponent's secret word. When you activate a clue, you say which clue you're going to activate, and you do whatever it says. Now, each clue has a berry token value on it, and it also has something that it does. So like I said, the gray ones are kind of in every game. The orange ones are a little wonkier, but can be given to your opponent. So let's say I pick this one here, the relative word length. I pick this, it has 1 at the top. So my opponent will get 1 of these berry tokens. The better the clue, the more tokens they get. This says build a valid word from the tiles in front of you. Your opponent tells you whether it's longer, shorter, or the same length as their secret word. So I would do that. Maybe I might put grin here. And if their word is tangy, let's say I'm playing the opponent, they would just say longer. So I know it's longer than 4 letters. Or maybe I'll pick the raven here. This gives my opponent 3. And it says your opponent tells you the number of consonant tiles in their secret word. Or maybe the first letter. This is pretty powerful. I get to know the first letter, but it gives my opponent 4. Now, at any point, you can guess the secret word. If you guess incorrectly, you give your opponent 2 berries. All right, if you guess correctly, great. Now your opponent's not going to get any more berry tokens. So if you guess your opponent's word correctly and you have more tokens than they do, you've won. But if they have more tokens than they do, they get to keep playing until you get more than they do. So let's say, for example, I asked the first letter, I asked relative word length, I asked this rare find, and you can even use the same clue more than once, but and then I guess wrong. So I give my opponent 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I finally got it. So now they have 8 tokens, and I have 4. So they get to keep guessing and doing things until my tokens go over theirs. So that's it. And whoever gets it wins. Now you can play a longer game by playing 3 times in a row or split into teams. We also found that you could also give people more consonants and more vowels so they can make longer words, which might make it trickier. Now, I do wish there were more cards in the game. I wish there was all kinds of cool orange things. And there is a little bit more text on these than you might think, like dynamic word builder. But at the same time, I do like the art on them, and it does work well. This is kind of a funky shield thing, but it does work well. You're sitting there writing your secret word, and then you cover it up. And then the bags, the letter tiles aren't amazing or anything, but they work, the different kinds of tiles. The rules are written in an annoying way. They're written very clearly, but they're written on one of these fold-out sheets, something I'm not a big fan of. But honestly, the components are pretty decent. And there you go. You know what? I really like this game. Now, it's a little wonky. I'm not sure the clues feel completely balanced. Sometimes some of the one clues feel better than the other one clues, but who cares? It's just an interesting game. It's a logic deduction game. When I play my wife, I'm already at a disadvantage because she'll look at the 11 letters and go, I narrowed it down to 5 words I think you would have picked. I'm like, I have no idea. What's the first letter? Okay, now I narrowed it down. But it's a nice give and take. Like I can pick clues that will help me a lot, but they give my opponent a lot of berry tokens, and if they can guess it a little faster than me, they're going to do better. It's also a very short game. We're talking 10 minutes or less per game, unless, of course, you really sit there and really think it over. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Scrabble, but this game kind of meets me in the middle. It lets me make a word. That's half the game, to try to make a word your opponent won't think of, and the other half is to guess their word. Now, like I said, I usually play with more letters. Like I usually play 9 consonants and 6 vowels. That makes it a little wider. It makes the game just as interesting because you're just making bigger words or longer words, and your opponent, it might take the game a little bit longer, but if you're both doing it. But you can even give your opponent more letters if you think there's an imbalance. Like I played my daughter. I gave her 9 and 6, and I took 7 and 4, and that really evened things out to some degree. It was a nice thing back and forth. I'm surprised they didn't put something like that in the rules. But if you like word-style games and you want something quick that works with 2 players, I was pretty happy with this one. It's a nice little game, so check it out. A little wordy. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment approved.